Hello, everyone. This is Andrew with That Wrestling Show. I'm joined with my friend Adrian, like always.
How
And
you guys
today
doing?
we have a very special guest, Killer Kelly. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Fantastic. Thank you for
Great.
asking. So we start off both of our interviews we've done so far like this. I figured we could start. How did you get into wrestling? What got you into wrestling, Kelly?
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful question. I got into wrestling because my older brother was addicted to wrestling, and one day he was just watching I don't know if it was Raw, SmackDown, probably SmackDown. And he was watching it in our attic, and I just joined in, and I saw Kane doing his entrance with the whole shebang, like fire, everything. And I fell in love with it. Like it was instant. I got hooked on it. I was 7.
That's awesome. Is that something you might want to incorporate in your entrance one day? Is maybe some fire or something?
I already had it like in WXW at 16 karat last year. WXW was kind enough to make it a surprise. So I was doing my entrance at 16 karat, big match feel, me versus Sony Storm, and all of a sudden I had fire in my entrance. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I figured we could just get this out of the way pretty early. So, NXT UK, are you still currently involved in the product? Because when I was doing my research, I couldn't find like a release statement or anything like that. But you're also like not listed there anymore. Is there any way you could clear
Yeah.
that up?
Yeah. I wanted to keep it like quite private. I'm not like one of those people that goes on Twitter like, "Hey guys, I just left WWE. This happened and that happened and blah blah blah." So I didn't do that. I We parted ways in I want to say in the middle of January, something like that, or the beginning of February. It was between January and February,
Sure.
and we just parted ways, and I just didn't want to announce to the world until I was ready to accept some good bookings to put me on the map again. So my quote unquote outing was going to be at during WrestleMania week. I had some big matches announced, some big shows, some things that I didn't announce, and that was gonna be my me saying to the world that I was no longer with WWE.
And then the world ended, basically.
With you being in Germany, and WXW being so prominent over there, and you going back and forth between like Progress and doing your WWE UK days and stuff like that, who was a lot of those talents that not a lot of the people stateside over here are not really seeing?
But should.
Um, that should okay. Uh, the number one person that came to my mind right now is someone that is in the business for quite some time, but he's such a huge part of WXW. Like everyone loves him. And when we had our show during WrestleMania week last year, he was quite popular with the American audience.
Mhm.
Um, he is absolute Andy. He is like amazing. Everyone loves him. Like he's a natural baby face, a very hated heel when he wants to. Like he is great. But there's a lot of other talent that let me just okay, the other one, like I'm a little bit biased, but without wanting to be biased is my boyfriend, Alexander James. He's American. He's from Maryland, but he didn't do much in America. Like he was one of the guys of Drew Gulak's posse, quote unquote, in CZW. But other than that, like he started to gain momentum, and developing his character and his in-ring style here in WXW. Like, he's one of the main guys in WXW right now. Who else here in
Like some
WXW?
of the women you faced, right? Like Tony Storm and Ginny and Piper Nevin, so on, like sort like that. Like, you constantly learn from those women because they've been in the business for so much longer, right? I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Like, since my first encounter with Tony, I started like developing so much, and Tony was one of the WXW girls as well. So she kind of passed the torch to me, and I learned so much from her and from the other girls.
In 2017, you were featured in the Mole Hairs magazine in an article about strong women. In your time wrestling, has the way people viewed women's wrestling shifted?
I think so. First of all, I didn't know I was featured, so that's a surprise.
Oh, I got it from your Instagram. You posted a picture about it.
What? Can you repeat the name of the magazine?
Okay, Grant. Okay, so it might just be I'm pronouncing it wrong. Mulheres. Mulheres.
Oh, okay. That's a Portuguese magazine. Okay. I was like, what kind of magazine is that? Is it American?
How do you pronounce that?
Mulheres.
Okay, yeah, I am saying that so
you Americanized that all up, man.
Yeah, don't worry at all. I felt like that was an underground wrestling magazine back in America.
Oh no.
So, since 2017, I think so. I think like we finally earned the respect that we've been wanting since, like, I don't know how long. And nowadays, 2020, I think that we belong at the same level as the guys. Like, as of right now, Impact has a, a girl that's the champion. Like, he's the face of the company. She's
Yeah.
the ultimate champion. Like, I think from 2017 till now, women's wrestling progressed so much, and the fans and the owners of the companies, like, their perspectives shifted so much and changed so much, and I'm really glad about that. Like, from 2020 on, I can see like a lot of good stuff happening after the COVID-19 thing goes away.
So to switch subjects, you have gone on record by saying that Denny's is your favorite place to get breakfast. So, in your own words, describe the perfect breakfast.
My dear friend, not only breakfast, everything. I can go to Denny's any time of any day. Like, I'm obsessed with Denny's. Like, I love it. My perfect one is the double berry pancake breakfast with scrambled egg whites, turkey bacon, with hash brown, of course, and I need to have my black coffee, and that's perfect, 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 perfect. Sometimes, like, my AJ is absolutely obsessed with pancake puppies, so we always ordered that as well. Like, I love everything. There was one time I ordered the steak. I was like, literally, I was so afraid of what I was getting. This was in the beginning where I barely knew Denny. So I asked for the steak. I was like, okay, I want like rare, medium rare, but more on the rare side, and with this and that and that. And they brought it to the table. I tasted it, and good heaven, like, I loved it. And I'm Portuguese. Like, our steaks and our meat is very, very good. And maybe I was just lucky, and it was the perfect Denny's, the perfect day, the perfect meat, but it was great.
So
But I wouldn't trade those pancakes for nothing in the world.
is there something that Denny's does that is just like makes it better than everyone else? Like, because to us, like, Denny's is that place that's open 24 hours a day. So at like 3 in the morning after a show, that's where we end up. But it's never like our first choice. But you're such a big Denny's advocate. What makes it better than other like places?
So the first time that I went to America, the first place that I went was IHOP. And I was like, okay, this is going to be my first experience at American Pancakes because I've never had American Pancakes. So I went there. I asked for the ones with strawberry or something like that. But when they brought it to the table, like the pancakes are fine, but the strawberry is like a canned strawberry with like I don't know, the sauce is so weird, and they wouldn't give me just fresh strawberries or fresh berries or fresh fruit. It's just everything in a can, and I got so disappointed, so sad. And the next day, AJ took me to Denny's, and I asked for fresh berries, and they brought me fresh berries, and the pancakes were amazing. So that was like love at first sight, and of course, it helps that it's open 24/7. If I'm craving those badass pancakes, I just go there any time of the day. I freaking love it. I'm completely obsessed. I'm gonna move to America because of Denny's. Here's my statement.
You got to get hired for their spokeswoman. My God, you just sold like 100,000 more pancake breakfast for that franchise.
I just want that sponsorship.
I can already see it. It's just like, do you have a killer appetite?
Hell yeah.
Oh man. So to segue from breakfast foods, most people are probably going to remember you here in the States for the Mae Young Classic in 2018, where you fought the legendary Meiko Satomura. And at that point, she had like 25 years experience. She had been all over Japan. What was that like, fighting somebody with, at that time, almost like 10 times more wrestling experience than you had?
It was a dream come true. Like, no doubt. Once Sarah Amato told me that I was facing her, I didn't even respond. I looked at her. She was like expecting an answer from me. I just couldn't say anything. She was like, "Are you happy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Duh.
Yeah.
Like from that first round, like all of the girls were like waiting to know who their opponents were, and Meiko wasn't there. Like half of the girls weren't there, and we were just like, oh yeah, let's find out. And I was like, oh, I'll probably just gonna face like someone at my level or something like that. And they gave me Meiko, and they gave me like one of the first round matches. It was the longest one. I was like, oh fuck, that's a lot of trust, and it was amazing. It was definitely my favorite match. Between that, like my favorite match is me versus Meiko Satomura. My second one is me versus Sony at 16 Carat. But fuck that match. It was amazing. I was so nervous. Like I had Drake, who was my referee. He was in the ring, like looking at me, saying, "Just you fucking got this. I know that you're nervous, but you're gonna fucking wreck it." And I was like, "Oh my god, you have so much confidence. I'm just gonna shit my pants right here."
So,
it doesn't look like I'm nervous, but I'm so fucking nervous during that match. And like after the match, I just wanted to cry. Like me and Meiko went backstage. Meiko couldn't stop thanking me. I couldn't stop thanking her. We both cried. We both hugged each other. Then we had Triple H and William Regal coming to us and like just shaking our hands and saying fucking good job. And we were just like, oh my god.
So a lot of people say that wrestling is like a universal language, right? Like when you're in the ring, that's why people from Japan and America can wrestle so smoothly. And was that kind of the same thing with, you being from Germany or Portugal and her being from, Japan? Like not a lot of people seen Meiko Satomura here in the States before, if ever. And you guys had that match that went, you said long and it went smooth, and it was one of the top matches in the whole tournament.
I say genuinely my favorite match of the whole tournament.
Thank you. And I like, it's something that my AJ still says. Like, you had WWE Match of the Year, and I was like, Oh, yeah, I did. Me versus Meiko was one of the matches of the year on WWE's list. Like, that's fucking amazing. Like, I still can't believe it. And it took us, I'm not even joking, like 10 to 15 minutes to plan the whole match, and we were done. Like, everyone had days to plan their matches. Me and Meiko was so natural, so quick. We just understood each other. We're just like, this, yes, this, yes. And she can barely speak English. She was just like, yes, yes. Oh, maybe, no, maybe that. And we're like, yeah, done. We, we have like Funaki helping us plan the match, and he was just like, okay, perfect. It's done.
That's awesome. So when people do see you wrestle, you can probably see that Low Ki is one of your biggest influences, and you've gone on record by saying that he's one of your heroes. But who are some of your other influences in your wrestling style?
It's definitely Loki and Shibata. Like, they're neck and neck. They're both my biggest inspirations, my favorite wrestlers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your mouth guard is synonymous with the Killer Kelly character now. When did you decide to start wearing one, and why did you just start wearing one?
I had to wear one. So I was training back in Portugal, and my jaw, like, I have a very, very bad jaw. Like, it cracks all the time and it hurts. So I went to my doctor, and to prevent me from getting a surgery, we had to do like some changes in my mouth, and he said, if you want to train wrestling again, or just wrestle or whatever, you have to wear a mouthpiece. Like, you have to protect your teeth. You need to clench like your jaw. You really need to take care of that, and that's the number one priority. Like, if you get hit in the wrong place, your jaw can literally like dislocate and never like, and you need the surgery.
Oh
So
man,
that's why. It wasn't
man.
by choice. It wasn't like, oh, it's so cool. No, I had to. He made me do it.
It's a really like original look though. Like I can only really think of you and Pete Dunne now currently wrestling that wear one. Kurt Angle back in the day used to
Yeah, and
wear one,
Shayna.
but
Shayna,
oh,
because
Shayna
of
Baszler.
her MMA background as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. I it's so bad I forgot about Shayna Baszler. Don't hurt me if
Don't
you
worry.
somehow get this.
Yeah, really. So with I don't know how uh, up to date you are with the product, but with WWE bringing in Karrion Cross, everybody knew him over here as Killer Cross, and
Yeah.
when it went from Killer to Karrion, it was kind of like, whoa, like at least when because I follow him a lot around here, and was it ever like, hey, Killer Kelly, you just have to be Kelly? Was it?
Uh, no, they never said anything. When I first got my contract, I was like, oh, they're definitely gonna change my name. Like, there's no doubt. I'm just gonna be like my Portuguese name, which is Raquel Lourenço, or something like that. Uh, like, they're not gonna allow me to be Killer Kelly. And then I got my contract, and it said blah 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 blah, Killer Kelly, and I'm like, oh, too late. I'm gonna sign it. I'm gonna be Killer Kelly. But they never mentioned anything about Killer Kelly ever.
How did you get the name Killer Kelly? Was it given to you? Was that something that you decided like that was going to be part of your character, or how did that come about?
It was given to me back in Portugal. So the scene in Portugal is non-existent. We I trained in an academy that was opened by Bruno Brito, which is one of Lance Storm's students. He went to Canada, did the 3 month training with Lance Storm. He came back, bought a ring, and opened the academy, and that was it. And I trained multiple years with them, but like it was it was never a possibility to be a wrestler being from Portugal. Only if you move to America. So I would train like every now and then. It wasn't like I didn't take it too seriously. But on the last year that I was in Portugal, excuse me, um, they wanted to take things more seriously. So they started having more shows, and I started wrestling, but I could only wrestle with the guys because there weren't any girls. So so I had that style that I still have today, but it was in the very beginning. And I was wrestling boys, and before the whole badass Ronda Rousey in WWE, I was like that, but in Portugal, many, many years before.
Huh.
And like the booker of Wrestling Portugal, he wanted me to be this badass character who could kill any guy. So basically, I started having like very, very short matches where I just killed the guy. And the crowd started chanting. Like I was just Kelly at the time.
Okay.
So the crowd started chanting Killer Kelly. And I was like, oh my God. So every single show, up until I decided to move to Germany, they would shout and chant Killer Kelly. So once I moved to Germany, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be Killer Kelly from now on. This is too good of a name to not use it, and it's so badass. I look like a freaking superhero, and I'm gonna use it. So I have to thank the Portuguese crowd for giving it to me.
That's awesome.
That's pretty crazy, actually. So, you were talking about when you were in Portugal, you had to fight a lot of the guys and stuff because it wasn't a big, thing over there for women or in general. If you once this whole COVID situation in the world becomes normal again, did you want to start doing more intergender stuff? I mean, it's kind of like you said in Impact. Tessa Blanchard's holding the world title, and she's having matches with like Sammy Callahan and Moose and Michael Elgin and stuff like that. So like, do you want to start venturing into that as well?
Hell yeah, of course I want. I did one. It was my wrestle at Riptide in the UK, and I wrestle one of the UK's most intriguing and weird characters, which is Matt Kurtz. He's just basically like a keyboard warrior, a really, really skinny guy, very tall. He actually like wrestled Suzuki in Repro.
Wow.
Yeah, he got like fucking killed. It was amazing. So I wrestled him on my last show. It was really, really entertaining. I loved it. Like he's twice as tall as me. It was great.
I think that's one of my dream matches now is Killer Kelly versus Minoru Suzuki.
Oh
Oh
God,
my God.
I would pay to wrestle him.
I know when you're not wrestling, people can find you on Twitch streaming some classic games like Diablo or reading scary stories and different things like that. What are some of your favorite games?
I'm a Diablo geek. Like I freaking love Diablo. I've been playing Diablo since I don't know, since I was 10 or something like that with my mom and my brother.
Man.
Like they both love games. So it's definitely Diablo, and I started playing it's gonna be like a year ago. I started like streaming with AJ because he has a channel like for so long, and he asked me to join the streams. So we played Until Dawn, which I love. It's so good. So, so good. And Outlast 1 and 2, which is amazing. I freaking love horror games. Like, I'm a horror nerd. I love scary stuff. So, those are like amazing. And Last of Us, I played alone. I'm completely obsessed, and I cannot wait to play Last of Us 2.
Oh.
So good.
Same here. What are you mentioned it? What are some of your favorite horror movies?
It's more like a thriller, but Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, absolutely. It's a classic.
Yeah, I love it. And maybe American Psycho?
American Psycho with Christian Bale, right?
Yeah, I love some old school um, movies. I love them. And maybe I should put in that list. It's not a very talked about movie. It's Oculus. Like I
Oh,
just
it's the one that WWE made, I think, isn't it?
no. Is it Oculus or? Okay, now I'm confused. Um, no, it's not WWE. It's like it's a movie about a mirror.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
actually produced by WWE Studios. That's why.
was it?
Uh huh.
No.
I'm not lying to you. You go back and check it, and it was
Oh
produced by
my
WWE
God.
Studios.
Wait, are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh yeah, wow.
Oh,
Blumhouse,
it's
WWE
Oculus.
Studios.
Really? Oh my God.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Um,
That's
speaking of
Like,
like, speaking of like horror movies and stuff, when I look at somebody like Jazzy Gabbert, that's like the perfect horror villain, right? She's big,
yeah.
she's strong, she's scary looking. What does it go to like fighting somebody like her or wrestling somebody like her to somebody like Tony Storm, who's more technical, who uses more strikes and stuff like that? What goes into like the difference of training and stuff like that?
Uh, so your question is, how is it to wrestle Jazzy Gabbert, or how is
It's
it
like
to wrestle?
what's the differences that you have to like mentally um, do for yourself?
I just do what I would do with smaller opponents or whatever. Like I don't change my style at all. Maybe I just like it's pretty hard to lift a Jazzy, but
Yeah,
I can do it. And
man.
it's easy. Like she's such a lovely person outside of the ring. Um, so it's really easy to work with her. I actually enjoy it. So I I just I just go about it like I would go with any other person, to be honest.
fair enough. So this is my last question, and probably the most important question. In doing my research, I found that you owned a cat named Horace, who is adorable, by the way. But
Thank
why,
you.
in your opinion, are cats better than dogs? Or are dogs better than cats? People need to know, are you a cat or dog person?
Oh, I'm definitely a cat person. Definitely. Because cats are just like me. Like they want their own space. They like cuddles every now and then, but they're very independent, and I love that. Like every now and then, I'm like, Horace, come here and give me a cuddle, and he's like, no, screw you, let me be. But then 5 minutes after, he comes to me and he's like, okay, I kind of love you, so here's a little cuddle, and I'm like, oh, it's so good. While dogs are just freaking attention whores. They're
Oh
cute,
man.
but I prefer cats.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Kelly, thank you so much for doing this. Really, we
Yeah,
appreciate it.
it was a fantastic time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really enjoyable.